We sat down with 4 clients of Blockware Solutions to discuss their experience mining Bitcoin with Blockware. If you are on the fence about mining and want to learn more about what the process entails, this is the video for you. Each of the clients elected to remain anonymous for the final production. As such, there's no visual component to this episode, so feel free to browse the web on another tab and play this in the background. Make sure to like and subscribe, and without further ado, here's the episode. What's your favorite thing about the Blockware Marketplace?
That it's turnkey. So if I can link my Bitcoin wallet to it, then I can just buy a rig and it's up and running within, an hour of the transaction, right? I mean, there's there's a lot of other hosting products out there, and I mean, there's a lot of other great companies out there, but there is a lag time, right? Like if you buy a machine with another company, it might take another few weeks or 6 weeks, whatever, to actually like get the machine, test it, see if it works right, and then send it over to their facility, and then it gets up and running. So, you're just skipping all of that, and you're just immediately turning it on and going. So that is absolutely my favorite feature of it.
Liquidity. When I want to try and buy a rig cheaply, I can do that. If I want to try and flip one, I can do that. It creates liquidity, and that's very appealing to me.
Think what I like the most about the marketplace is the wide variety of machines and options that are out there. As a normal pleb, if I want to buy a machine, I seem pretty limited on other platforms, either with like minimum order quantity or like, hey, here's the one rig that we have for sale right now. So it's really great to be able to like see a few different options and kind of make the purchasing decision. Do I want to buy something based on like price, or do I want to buy it based on efficiency? Like having having enough machines to be able to choose from is pretty great.
Well, I appreciate that the marketplace is available so that people that have machines can trade them if they are no longer interested or want to upgrade, and people that want to buy less expensive machines pre-owned are able to do that as well.
How would you rate your experience mining with Blockware on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd say 9. The only thing that doesn't give it a 10 is that there's not a mobile app. I would love a mobile app to be able to more closely kind of see my rigs, check performance, that kind of thing. But aside from that, everything else has been fantastic. Working with you, working with Blake, working with Mason. It's been an awesome experience, and I've recommended it to a ton of friends.
My experience with mining with Blockware Solutions, I would say it's been very good. Everyone I've dealt with has been great. I would say, a 9.5.
I don't necessarily have a whole lot of previous experience with mining, so um, I could say that it's solidly like an 8 or a 9, just based on like I've been a pretty happy customer, and you know haven't had any major issues or anything that would you know downgrade that, I guess.
I would give it a 10, but there was an event outside of Blockware's control, but they handled it extremely well. So I'll give it a 9. There was an event where you guys had to switch facilities in Washington, and I did get affected by that. But I can't say, like, I was so impressed with the team and the transparency of the situation and how quickly, I was getting responses from everybody, the communication and the turnaround happened so quickly. I was back up and running within a week. And yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, whatever might have happened that was outside of Blockware's control. But the fact that you guys took that situation, dealt with it so quickly, were totally honest and transparent. I had like great communication with the team, and I was back up and running within a week. Couldn't be happier. So I was very impressed when I saw that.
What is your long-term Bitcoin thesis, and how does mining play a role in that?
I have like a different scales on like how I think of it. Like sometimes I think it could eat all the value in the world. So I mean, there's really, it's infinity over 21 million, right? Like there really is no ceiling. So I guess I can be like a Peter Dunworth, and say like and be like an ultra bull. Um, but maybe we see like a higher grade of adoption, and maybe we use it to back U.S. Treasuries, or I'm not exactly sure what that would look like. But even in that scenario, I see a price of multi-million dollars per coin, right? So I think the next 10 to 15 years are going to be like a golden era for Bitcoin mining. Like we've seen hash price, crash down over time, but that's because the block rewards were so huge and have gotten cut. Um, but I think hash price, and I think I heard you say this, like transaction fees are really going to be a dark horse going forward, because now that we have like BitVM and we have ordinals, and that's kind of a controversial topic and within the Bitcoin community, but I think transaction fees are going to play a huge role over the next 10 years. And yeah, even though the block rewards are going to get smaller and smaller, I think we're going to see huge inflows from the ETFs, and I think the price could easily go into the hundreds of thousands. And if transaction fees are like robust and strong, then that can lead to an extremely profitable time for Bitcoin, even with, you know, historically like a really low block subsidy. So I think right now, I think this last 12 months was absolutely the time to start buying rigs and getting them plugged in. And I think that window is closing.
It's my retirement. I don't know that things like Social Security and whatnot will be around long term. So as far as me and my family go, I mean, I'm married. I have a baby on the way, and I'm trying to build a nest egg that will be around for my kids and then my kids' kids. So my long term is I think it's going to be world reserve currency. I think it's well on the way to that, and I mean I'm as far as savings and retirement nest egg goes, that's what I'm trying to do is just accumulate as much as I possibly can.
I believe, like Michael Saylor, that Bitcoin is going to go up forever, at least next 10 years. Let's put it that way. So, based on that, I think that mining provides an opportunity to hedge a little bit and to operate a business, and to really understand what Bitcoin is about, um, and just I think being involved in mining has really made me learn a lot more about Bitcoin itself, and yeah, I think that I'm looking forward to the bull run.
So this is one of those areas where like I think it has grown over time, but as time has gone on, I really like the idea of Bitcoin mining as kind of a hedge to some of the other volatility that exists within the market. Obviously, I think Bitcoin is going to go up. I think it's a savings technology that is unlike anything we've ever seen before. So, like, I'm stupidly bullish on like this is what my grandchildren are going to be interacting with, and to be able to like leave a legacy for that is pretty powerful and profound. That being said, while I am saving in Bitcoin, and that's like the bulk of what my economic energy is like actually just holding Bitcoin, um, to be able to essentially lock in a price of a purchasing price of Bitcoin in terms in that relative terms of like what does it cost to mine a Bitcoin using a machine at the price and the electricity that I have locked in now versus like whatever the daily or weekly or monthly cost it is to, if I want to put $100 a week or $100 a day in Bitcoin, that value changes rapidly over the course of the price fluctuating. And so I see it as like a great opportunity to kind of lock in a certain amount of stacking that exists like at a certain fixed price point. And so I'm not like, I don't want to put all my money into it, but at the same time it like creates this nice little corner where I'm like, hey, it doesn't really matter what the price does. I know I'm going to get X number of sats for this price, for the length of that term. And like, that's pretty awesome for me.
What is your mining strategy? Are you trading ASICs or simply mining with them?
Largely, I've been just using them to accumulate. Lately, I have been thinking about more of a if I can find a way to trade or flip ASICs in Bitcoin denominated terms, where I can enter at a certain position and then exit the ASIC at the same amount of Bitcoin or higher, that's something that I've been thinking a lot more about, because the end goal is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as I can, and I think that mining and ASIC liquidity plays. I think both of those have a role in my long term strategy.
I am mostly I'm simply mining with them. I guess I've kind of leaned a little bit further into kind of thinking about trade. Like I'm in this next batch of the like K pros that everybody's waiting on coming in. Um, so I bought several of those kind of with the idea that they may not be as efficient as like an S19 XP, but coming into this bull run, people are probably going to, there's going to be that like, people are going to see the sticker shock value of mining in a bull run. Maybe there are going to be some people who want it. But I also, any purchase I'm making, I'm thinking like, okay, is this at least going to be break even or viable post halving? And so I try to think like, if I'm going to buy a rig, can I sit with it for the next 2 or 3 years and still be happy with that? Um, and if somebody wants to take it off my hands for a higher value price, great. Because to me, especially when denominated in sats, like I kind of see that I'm always in that race to like, how do I get more satoshis more efficiently? So if somebody sees the value of that mining rig and wants to pay for that higher end sats, awesome, like I'll sell it to you, because I it's more than what I spent. I don't think about it as much in the dollar amount, um, as much as I think like, okay, I bought a rig for this many sats. Now, if I can sell it for more than that, assuming, getting the commission and that, taxes, those kinds of things out of the way, if I can make a profit on it, okay, you know.
So it's both. I am just mining with them. Like I have more than enough cash flow to just pay my hosting bills with fiat. So, I have absolutely no need to sell any of my Bitcoin. Um, but I do have, a small fleet now. I have three machines. And uh, so I think of it like a portfolio, right? Like I have two stronger machines. I have an S19J Pro Plus, a What's Miner M50, and an S19 Pro. So let's say we go into this bull and things are crazy, 2025, 2026. I'm going to look to sell the S19 Pro. Um, and then I'm going to use that cash to wait for the next cycle to pick up more machines. So, and that ties back into the marketplace. Something that I loved about the marketplace was that, that liquidity of selling those rigs. So, yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to.
So right now I'm mining with my machines, but there will come a point in time, most likely, that I will be parting way with some of them to make room for maybe more efficient machines or do some other things with that.
How would you describe the process of purchasing a machine on the marketplace? Is it quick and straightforward?
Extremely, extremely quick and straightforward. I mean, when I first got into this, I was expecting a long, complicated, convoluted, confusing process. Um, Blockware is anything but. You just get into the marketplace, find a rig. I research the history of the rig, look at past performance, and then there's I can either submit a bid or just go buy it outright. And buying it outright, if I like the rig and I think it's a good price to make sense, I send the payment in, and usually within 45 minutes or an hour, it's hashing and shooting Bitcoin over to my wallet. So it's an extremely easy process.
It I think it was certainly faster than I expected it to be. Um just getting onboarded with any kind of company like this, especially when, you know, you kind of got to get the initial like paperwork and you got to sign some things, you got to get all that. It moved pretty quick, as it basically moved at the speed that I wanted it to. Um, working with the guys at Blockware was great, and they were super responsive and really fast. So it was really just, as fast as it took me to read through things and get up and running. And then once you're in the in the marketplace, it's like stupid easy get a miner and get it running. So um, I'd say that that was, you know, the ongoing experience is arguably like better than the initial, like the time it takes to get up and running.
Yes, I think I've been using the marketplace very often since it first came out, and there's definitely been some tweaks that have been made it operate a lot better. Um, I have had some issues with paying with Lightning on occasion. Bitcoin's never been a problem, and initially there was a slow transition between the time where payment was made to the turnover, but that's come a long way also. And I don't know if you guys have automated it, but it's a lot quicker now.
How do you go about selecting a specific machine to purchase on the Blockware Marketplace?
When I first started, I didn't know the ins and outs of some of the metrics that everybody uses. Um, and thinking about like price per terahash and all of those kinds of values, or thinking about like what the break even price would be. It's like, okay, this one might be cheaper, but it's less efficient. And so I spent a lot of time like doing my own calculations and math on my end to try and figure out like what's an optimal way to think about this. But as time has gone on, really like I'm looking at that like upper end of efficiency, trying to get like in preparation, especially as we're coming in the tail end of this epic, like knowing that whatever I'm earning now in Bitcoin is going to change drastically. Um, and so trying to prepare in the event that, once the halving happens, the machines that I've picked up are still, operating as efficient as they can be. So I'm sure there are some people that go through and buy just like all the cheap stuff, like on the bet that like the price is gonna skyrocket. And when the price is high, like those machines are profitable in terms of dollars. But my thought is like, what's happening after the halving? What's, maybe the longer term bet on mining, and what machines can I get a hold of that will carry me through that?
I look at various factors. I look at the operations of the machine, the history. It's a little hard to evaluate some information. You don't have all the information available right away, so try to get a history of how the machine's been performing over a 30-day background, um, and also based on the comparables, based on um, the potential that I see in the miners. Um, I like to see a miner that's currently in the green, right? And most of your miners, especially now, most of your miners in the marketplace are, even those older ones. Um, but I don't know how long that's going to stay, and we'll have to wait and see. I know we're approaching the halving, and it's something definitely that's on my mind, as I'm sure it's on a lot of people's minds that are in this business. Um, And so, I think there's going to be like a little bit of a slowdown as we go into the mine, as we go into the halving, to just kind of see what's happening before anyone's making any new things, any new investments, except maybe on the new machine side. Um, that's kind of how I'm running my portfolio.
If I feel like there's an opportunity for a value acquisition, if I so for example, I bought a few of the Bitmain 110 terahashes a while ago, and they were cheaper than I kind of just keep an eye on the marketplace to get a sense of how price is fluctuating. And if I see a dip for whatever reason, I usually jump all over that. So if I think I can acquire it a little bit more cheaply relative to Bitcoin, so thinking through things in Bitcoin terms, then I pull the trigger pretty quick.